Fort Worth.
Okay, so you're a drive away from Oklahoma City where your
Yeah,
cabins are.
so where my cabins are 2 hours north. Oklahoma City's 3.5 hours.
Yeah, it's nothing. That's awesome. Hey, can I tell you? I'm going to tell you a funny story of Dallas to Oklahoma. That's okay.
Of
I've only
course.
been out there a couple times, but there's my first real job, sales job, back in I don't know, 20 years ago. It was with a company called Odyssey Wear, and a gentleman named Barry Swihart lived out of Dallas, and we basically sold educational software through K through 12 online curriculum companies,
Right.
and worked in Oklahoma City and Dallas, so we DFW, so on and so forth. But we were heading to Dallas, Muskogee, hitting a couple different areas in Oklahoma to go meet with some schools. And at the time, I was 20, I think I was 23, right around there, 24,
Right.
something like that. I was still pretty young. He's a little bit older, but he had a BMW M5 back then, and it was the sports car of sports cars, right?
Right.
So he's like, "Hey, I want to work. I want you to drive." And I was like, "Wow, man, that's an expensive car to be driving. Like, I don't really want to drive
Right.
your car." But then we get out on the highway, and I guess I don't remember what highway it was, but there's a highway that goes from Dallas to Oklahoma City where it's basically just wide open, flat, and
Yeah, it's
most people
I-35.
don't. There you go. So he's just like, "Yeah, put it in sport mode, light it up, see how fast we can go." And I was like, "Oh my goodness!" So we just took off, but. And that's what I remember about Dallas and Oklahoma, like that connection travel wise. But it was a good time.
Where are you located?
I'm out in Phoenix, Arizona.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not far. Yeah, similar
Not
high,
by
man.
plane.
Not by plane. By car, it's what, 15, I think 15,
Yeah,
16
so
hours.
my niece lives out there, so
Oh, cool. She go to school out here?
well, she went out there. Yeah, she went to college out there, and then she met somebody and married and
Got
that
stuck.
kind of deal.
That's about right. I mean, you end up out here for work, or you end up out here on school, or you end up out here because it's I mean, it's like Texas, man. It gets hot. I mean, we hit 120 in the summers, so it's like you
Yeah,
don't
y'all get a
move out.
lot hotter than we do. She runs like an electrical co-op. So she's young, but she's making like a buck 20 a year or whatever. So she's in a position where she
Sure.
can't really leave and come. Once you get yourself ingrained in a certain job, you can't just walk away.
No way. It's too hard. Absolutely. But yeah, tell me the story about your cabins, man. How'd you start this?
So it just came by, it just kind of happened. I mean, I bought my first rental property when I was 28.
Okay.
And so always wanted more and started buying more and more and more. And then ended up with like, I think we have like 50 or something.
Wow.
And
That's awesome.
then and then I was gonna open up a my wife and I like antiques. I don't like it quite as much anymore, but we're gonna open up a large antique mall. I was renting from Walmart. It's about
Okay.
50,000 square feet, and they wanted a personal guarantee, and it started making me nervous. This was probably, I don't know, 13, 14 years ago. So one of
Okay.
the partners had that was gonna invest in the antique mall, had bought a house inside this park. And when she did, um, I went up there to see it, and that's kind of the way it started. I worked on a guy 2 or 3 years before I got my first one,
Yeah.
and then somebody else, I contacted them, and over time they wanted to sell. So that's where I get the best deals is over time. Like I just bought a house, and I think I've been working on it 2 or 3 years, and she decided she wanted to sell, and so
Nice. Okay. So yeah, it's just an organic connection. It's just building relationships, taking the time, getting
So
the
it just, kinda
place.
happened and started doing Airbnb and learned a little bit about GMBs or I guess it's Google Business Profile now.
Yeah,
And
either way.
so then, got a website up. This was like 12 years ago, and so
Okay.
I'd met some guys along the way, like, they can really make things happen on the organic side.
Okay.
And so, they put some power links behind it. and it shot to the first page pretty quick. Now that is a market that is not highly competitive.
It's not the electrician market like your nieces
No, I
are.
mean, and it's all. I mean, I think people are unrealistic about like on my GMB on Turner Falls Cabins, I'm the placard, and so I'm the authority for that search term versus the 3-pack.
Yep.
Um, and so it pulls a lot off Dallas because there's 7.2 million people there. Oklahoma itself only has 2 million people in it, the whole state.
I
So,
didn't realize that.
Texas is probably 25, 30 million. I mean, and growing like crazy.
Okay.
So,
That's awesome. So the team that you had do the organic stuff, which again, that was the first thing I was like, I'm not sure what he wants to talk about because you're killing it visibly
I just didn't
organically.
know on the GMB side if there's anything we could do.
Okay.
Especially in the Dallas market, but so I invested in the cannabis space at one time,
Okay.
and I mean we did everything from growing in Oklahoma because it came legal there, into making distillate, which is I'm not a smoker, but I thought, well, this would be a good business. I wish I'd never done it because it's
Yeah.
done nothing but cost me money. Um,
Really?
well, it got too competitive because Oklahoma, for $2,500, you could get a license back in the day. So it was just like the Wild West, and they opened it up too much. And it's all supply and demand. In a lot of these states, like your California or Colorado or whatever, licenses are expensive, but they control the market that way if they only allow so much. So it props up the market. So it got to where in Oklahoma, they were growing a lot. It could be outdoors. I mean, we've grown acres of marijuana before. And,
Yeah.
it ends up in the Texas market on the black market is what ends up happening for a lot of people. And so,
Gee,
it drives down the price and it gets to where it's not
it's not even
cost
able.
effective to do it or whatever. But why I said that is because I think there was a placard. I think it's for marijuana packaging or something like that. Like somehow they got a national GMB, and I don't know how they did it. I mean, I think that's highly hard to do. And then the other thing is I'm looking at investing in it's mini splits is what it is.
Okay.
So, if you know what that is, as far as air conditioning goes. So,
Yep.
I don't know if there's a fit for that. I didn't know if you tracked just tell me kind of what you do as far as do you track everything with Google Console on the
Yep.
backside, and Falcon or one of those heat map things,
Yep.
trying to take them further out with landing pages and that kind of thing, right?
Yep. Yeah. Great question. So, yeah, so we do a combination of all that stuff. So everything you're talking about, so our tracking setup when we're working with a client. So we're utilizing heat maps, which we use a system called LeadSnap. Local Falcon's probably the big name. The downside with Local Falcon is they're using um, basically data to pull information versus LeadSnap, where they're actually using an algorithm that goes to the Google Business Profile and looks at the local visibility. So it's a little bit more accurate.
Right.
But that's tool use. Same difference. There's slight differences. They're not a huge shift. Tracking, we do connect to Search Console. We do connect to Google Analytics and your Google Business Profile, and we track calls, we track clicks, we track all that stuff. We add UTM codes into the process to make sure that we can differentiate what's coming from us, what's coming from your regular organic, just branded
Explain
for
that
you.
to me. What is UTM codes?
A UTM code is going to allow unique tracking from a source. So, for example, if we let's say we set up a page, right, a page on your website, and we want to see what kind of traffic is coming from the page that we developed, right? Just to give you an idea of like, all right, here's how many clicks you're getting because of this campaign. That UTM tracking code will be set in there and it'll be tagged as a as a source from us, so that way you can see where that stuff is going, and then as they go through your website, you can see the different interactions they
Is
have
it
on that
like
website.
pixels? Are you putting pixels on the
Similar,
backside?
very similar, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you're doing like Facebook retargeting, you'd add a Facebook pixel, right?
Does that
Yeah,
work?
it does. So I typically would recommend companies, if you have good traffic volume to your website, to always have retargeting set up, because the reality is you're going to have, I don't know, sometimes it's like a 2 week process to a month process of buying decisions that are going to happen. So if they come to your website and then they go on Facebook to look at their girlfriends, you're going to be popping up on their feed throughout that day. So you're going to be the constant reminder. So in 2 weeks or a month later, when they go back and start looking at cabins or start looking at housing, that type of stuff's going to capture very well. Um, so yeah, it does work.
Is it
It
very
would be,
expensive to set up?
no, it's something you can do pretty easily on your own, to be honest. I mean, we can set it up and run it for you, but I'm pretty honest with guys, like, it's a pretty easy setup process. You're literally just grabbing the pixel code from Facebook, from your Facebook ads once they're set up, adding into your website. Once it's added into your website, it tracks the rest and you just set up the settings. So, I mean, you can pull up, if you're a smart guy, you pull up YouTube and have it set up in a couple hours. It's not super difficult.
Oh, so you're
Um,
buying the advertising from Facebook, then putting their pixel on the website. So, but everybody, what about everybody through organic? They search for a cabin
yep.
or whatever and they come to it. Then it's going
It'll
to
tag.
shift it, tag it back to them. And then
Yep.
sometimes it can do an email campaign too, right?
Yeah, there are tools that can do email campaigns that can pull contact information. They're not super accurate. At least Facebook's pretty close, because Facebook's pretty wide with name information and IP addresses. But yeah, there's so many different ways that you can track people and keep following them, right? That's why people accept cookies and things like that um, within websites. Like, that's just the reality of it, for sure.
Okay.
I'm gonna pull up, and the hard part is, and just so you have an idea, as we're playing with maps, okay, yours is gonna take a little while to load because I kind of blew it out quite a bit. But the hard part is, and I'm not sure about your industry yet. So, like, for example, um, HVAC, electrical, moving, construction, right? That's probably like the meat of what we do. Moving companies, construction companies, that's the meat of our partners. Okay. Majority of Google business profile visibility for those type of businesses, because of the competition, is very narrow, right? So as a moving company out in Dallas, right? You're going to get like 4 mile radius of visibility for Google Maps. You're not going to be able to get more than that with a Google business profile.
Right.
So a lot of times when we're scaling visibility for organic maps, is you have to have a Google business profile. I don't know how the other company did the national Google business profile. I'm not sure how that shows up. Uh, I
Give
know
me just
there's,
1 second. Mom, I'm on a call. It's okay, Mom. Go ahead.
no, you're good. Um, so yeah, the hard part with it is we're just trying to figure out the search radius that you have,
Well,
looking
normally
for
it
like,
goes out, what, 20 miles, unless it's something that's not very competitive and you can probably push it out further.
well, that's what I was saying. If actually most markets are about 4 to 6 miles. That's pretty
Okay.
much the, sometimes you can push out about 25 or 20 miles, depending on what it looks like. I ran a really big scan for you guys, just to see, because the reality is most rental companies don't typically have a Google business profile. So what I'm kind of hoping for is that with the scans that I'm running, again, the data is a lot, so I'm trying to get it to pull right now, but um, I'm hoping that it allows for pretty wide radius. Worst case scenario, what we do is, for example, if you can't reach Oklahoma City with a Google business profile, or reach Dallas, you would open up a Google business profile in those two areas to start driving visibility to those markets for
But do you have to
search.
have a physical location there, or how do you do that?
Yeah, so yes, you do. Ideally, you have a physical location, and usually what I do with most of my partners is we call it a customer service or a sales office. So you rent a private office space from like Regis offices, or if there's some office suites that have really inexpensive rental
Right.
offices you can get, you just need a desk, a door, and an office, right? That's all you really need to get approved by Google with that physical address. So they'll go and spend a couple $100 on these locations. They open up the locations and they start driving reviews to those locations. Then we drive visibility, and now your map visibility expands within those markets, um, which is nice. So it's
Do you
it's
have to
definitely.
do verification with video or no?
Yep, yeah. So you would have, so like if you did Oklahoma City, for example, you would have to one day go up there and go through the process to get in to get it verified for sure. So you'll do the video just like you did
You gotta have the
previously.
name on the door and all that kind of stuff,
Yep,
probably. Yep.
exactly. Yep, and we keep it at 100% Google legit, because you can open up service area businesses and stuff, but the problem with it is
It
there's
goes
not.
down too.
Yeah, it goes down. You don't have the same level of visibility. Google fights that visibility a little bit. There's times where someone can post a review, and then that review comes through and it then repositions where you're at because it's got a photo with geotag. It's a lot harder to manage the value of that
Well,
location.
do they give you a hard time with like a Regis location if there's 50 businesses in there?
No. The biggest thing is ideally we find one that doesn't have a like business, right? So if I have a moving company, typically what I'm looking for is a Regis office that doesn't have another moving company in it, to make sure that there's separation to the types of businesses that are in those
But once you
locations.
get it verified, you don't have to keep that office forever.
Yeah, exactly. There's a reality to it where you sign a lease for a year, you don't do it again, that could come up, but it's rare, right? As long as you're not doing anything weird with your Google business profile, then it's not a big deal. Usually it just stays. So it is a temporary cost, business cost, um, as you go through it for sure.
Got it.
Yep. Um, but yeah, so yeah, looking at the Google Maps, that's it. Have you? I'm gonna bring this up just because I don't know if Maps is gonna be great for the business, because uh, are most of your clients coming from Oklahoma and Dallas? Is that where you're seeing the majority?
Dallas is the major driver. So
Okay.
so even though it's a GMB that comes up, I'm wondering in Dallas, like if they're in Dallas and they search for the word Turner Falls Cabins, I should come up all over that first page, I'm thinking. I'm thinking I'd come up under the GMB, should come up Turner Falls Cabins, I would think.
Yeah, if they're searching Turner Falls Cabins, for sure you're gonna pull up. Like that's your brand, which is great. Um, do you think most of those people are just looking for cabins in Oklahoma, or do you think they're looking for Turner Falls specifically?
Well, sometimes they're looking for, I mean, my cabins are inside the park. So
Okay.
their website address is turnerfallspark.com. I'm .net. Then I just, then I just, I've had a URL for like 10 or 11 years. It was turnerfalls.net. So short and
Okay.
sweet. And so I just created a website and I just, redid another cabin and putting it online or whatever. So I'm gonna drive business. I don't have a GMB up there for that one yet.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll show you what I'm looking at. Again, I'm waiting for these scans to load, but I mean, when I'm looking at your current business, right? I mean, the fact is, like, if even in Arizona, if I'm looking for cabins in Turner Falls, Oklahoma, right? You're gonna have your business popping up.
Yeah, so right there in those three, I'm the first one and the third one.
Yep. So that's where I mean, I'll be honest with you. I don't know if you need my help.
Okay.
and that's the hard part, right? Like, as much as I would love to be able to, like, hey, let's make money together, I don't know how much help you need from my services right now for maps. The only thing that I would say, as I'm looking at your business, as I'm looking at what the gaps are, the only place that you could really play in is through the paid ads.
Well, I mean, I'm
Uh,
already doing this. I already do VRBO. I already do booking on Airbnb. I am a super host. So I already get, which what that means is you've gotten enough reviews that are high enough. It puts you on the algorithm at the more toward the top. But really, I
yep,
get more business from organic, and then I do a lot with Airbnb. And so
which
on
makes sense.
VRBO and Booking.com and Expedia, just so you know, I mean, they're at 18 to 21%. So I load in a higher fee because they're so daggum expensive.
Have you thought of or thought about, when I'm talking about doing paid advertisement for your brand up here, do you do that already, pay per click?
No, no.
So that's the only gap I see. So when I'm looking at your maps, regardless of where we're looking at, if we're looking for cabins in Turner Falls, you're the guy, right? So you have visibility here, you have visibility here. The only place that people are you're losing visibility right now is here.
Well, do you think
But
I would get that much business off of it and would it be very expensive to do it?
it's going to be more expensive. Paid advertisements always more expensive. There's two ways that you can do it. So there's the way that I typically recommend to do paid ads is I don't like to go very heavy on spend, because I think that it's a false sense of winning, if that makes sense. Right? Coming in, typically what we look at is I typically start companies at like $1,500 a month of spend. Like,
Okay.
I don't want to do a lot of spend, and I want to see what the conversions are after about 30 to 45 days. And if it's not converting at $1,500, then we got a problem, right? And it's either pull the plug or there's got to be some kind of changes that are off. So that's one option. The other option, again, I would say I would recommend you going into Facebook retargeting. Which, if you don't want to deal with it, we can figure out. I'll do it for you, and we'll do it on a pretty inexpensive, just one-time fee. Set it up, get it done. So I think that that's an option as well. Um, yeah, I just don't see the need to spend more money on SEO.
So what would
That
that cost? What would it cost to do the Facebook retargeting and how much would I spend a month, you think, on that?
depends on. So it's all about traffic, right? So let's say, I don't know. I would say, what's your traffic volume on your website right now? Do you have an idea of how many people visit per month?
And I'm not 100% sure for the different search terms. I know what that is, but
Yeah, I can see that volume too. Your Google Analytics would tell you how many visitors per month you
yeah,
have.
I've looked. It's much higher in the summertime. I mean, I get, you know, sometimes 30, 40,000 in a month, in the
Wow,
winter,
30 or
a lot.
40,000.
I'm pretty
Holy cow.
sure, but I might be 100% wrong. I don't know.
That's all right. We can look at it. Yeah, typically, I don't see. I mean, even on high traffic sites, it's usually $300 a month. Like, it's pretty
Yeah.
inexpensive to have that retargeting. It's a really inexpensive cost. So, um, yeah, I mean, you could probably get away with it for 100 to $300 a month for retargeting ads through Facebook.
Okay.
So that's a really inexpensive way to do it. Um, I don't know. I would test some waters, because again, there's no point you spending money on me for SEO from what I can see. You've got the terms you need. I mean, I'm sure somebody else might want to sell you. I mean, I can add more, obviously, at any point, but the reality is it's not gonna push the needle enough.
And
Like,
what about for another business if I run across somebody like me, like, what are your fees to set up and what is it typically going
so
on?
yeah, great question. Actually, I'm looking at something right now, real quick. Hold on one sec. I just got some of these scans loaded up, so I wanted to get some visibility. So interesting. Let me show you this data real fast.
Okay.
and then we'll actually back it up. And I'm going to change one of the keywords because what I'm seeing again, Turner Falls cabins is the main keyword. So this heat map scan is for cabin rentals near me because I was like, let me take a look at some of the near me terms as a benefit, right? Just because a lot of times people may not search specific areas, but if you can see, the visibility is very, very minimal for near me terms. Okay, so I did cabin rentals near me, and then the other one that I ran was just general cabin rentals. Right, so this is 20th plus position, map visibility, that type stuff.
But it's because it's such a generic term, right?
Correct. But the reality is in generic term searches, that could actually be pretty valuable because if somebody is searching just cabins near me, here, I'm going to pull this back up. Sorry, I'm jumping around a little bit. If someone's just searching cabins near me, then in that facet, you probably do want to show up, or cabin rentals, right? Because that type of keyword, even though it's general, it may be someone who's in Oklahoma or some of these surrounding areas that may not know about Turner Falls, right?
Right.
So that's a kind of a factor. Let's go Turner Falls cabins. Let's take a look. I did pretty wide. I'm not going to go as wide because it took a really,
you
really
can
long.
switch the geolocation, can't you?
Yes, we can. Let's just take a quick look at this because I'm pretty sure this will run rather quick for us. I want to get a good scope of that real quick and take a look. Because the Google Business Profile visibility is going to be a little bit different. So like when I'm looking at this, a little bit different, right?
Right.
So this is what Arizona looks like for cabin rentals near me. So this is how I'm looking at that search database versus cabins in Turner Falls, Oklahoma, right? So there's two different algorithms that pick up on the search keyword term.
Right.
So I'm kind of playing with a few different things here. But yeah, just like I suspected. So you're crushing Turner Falls, right? And that's where maybe we
What are
have some
the
time.
X's?
What is what?
Oh, they're coming in now.
Yeah, so you can see your first position. So if anybody searches Turner Falls cabins, 100% visibility. You've got market share, you've got market visibility.
But for the word
When
Turner, what about for the word Turner Falls?
just Turner Falls,
Right. Just that word.
we'll take a look at that one real quick. So the near me terms or just general cabin rentals is actually low. Let's go back. Let me go.
And when you're doing the GMB, are you doing it per word or are you doing it for multiple search terms?
Oh, sorry. We're doing multiple search terms. So typically the way that we build it out is we actually start with the general terms first. So like cabins, cabins near me, cabin rentals, local cabin rentals, that type of stuff. So we're going to look at those, right? Because those major 5 terms, then we build out variations of 60 additional keywords that are cabin rentals in, cabin rentals near, cabin rent, right? So we're building 5 core terms and then about 60 variations of additional terms. Let's go Turner Falls. Let's go. Where did I have that at? Let's go 9 by 9.
So are you putting landing pages in different areas to do this?
Nope.
Okay.
Not with Google Maps. We don't. So what we would do, I'll take a look at your website in a sec. Let me just run this quick keyword real fast. Get rid of that. All right, let's let that run for a sec. So for example, I mean, your website has the content. I'm not going to need landing pages for Google Business Profile. right? So usually what we're executing, for example,
Yeah, but don't people put landing pages if they were a moving company, they put landing pages that are relevant to 5 miles out or whatever to try to bring it in, or no?
nope, not at all.
Okay,
So yeah, so you're using location pages, but that's because they service specific locations, right?
gotcha.
So your entire brand is based off Turner Falls. I don't need a page for Dallas because you're not trying to rank cabins in Dallas, right?
Right.
If you had cabins in Dallas, I would need a Dallas page. If we had Oklahoma, I would need an Oklahoma page. So I'm going to use a guy that I work with out of Texas, right? He has a location in Addison and Frisco, Google Business Profile wise, right? GBP. And we have pages for Dallas because he's eventually going to go to Dallas. He doesn't show up in Dallas maps and he won't until his Google Business Profile is open. So this is a service area page, not a landing page. So this is indexed. So for you guys, what what it is we're building content and visibility on those terms. Okay, Turner Falls actually gives us nothing to,
What's that? I'm not ranking for that word.
yeah, for Turner Falls. So
Isn't that
again,
weird?
yeah, that is weird.
No, but I mean,
Um,
why would it rank for Turner Falls cabins, but not rank for Turner Falls at all? I mean, those are
yeah, very, very similar keywords. That is interesting. Let me take a look at some stuff real quick.
In there.
Iraq.
because I think if you look at the word Turner Falls or Turner, I mean, I come up on page 1 in organic.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for. So yeah, here's your organic SERP keyword, 8th position, intent, navigational. So that's more navigational type. So this is a navigational term, Turner Falls, that you show up for. But on maps, it's
No,
not
that wasn't
triggered.
Turner Falls. That was Fallas. Turner
Oh,
Falls
Falls.
is down below.
Oh, there it is. Good catch. Yeah, it's still navigational, 8th position. So it's still a variation, which is interesting. Interesting. Okay.
Now, what do you use, Cody, to look at all this stuff? Oh, SEMrush?
Oh yeah, this is a SEMrush tool. We have multiples. This
Well,
is
SEMrush is
I,
probably one of the best, I think.
correct. I use multiple tools though, because again, ideally, I'm not using one data point to make a determination. It's kind of scary that way.
Right.
Uh, rentals near. Let's check this out. Let's go Texas. Let's go Texas to start. We're gonna dig. I got you on the line, and you like this stuff, and you nerd out about it. So, I got about 10 minutes before I
Okay.
have to jump for another meeting. But this gives us a little bit more scope of visibility into some of those terms we're talking about, like cabin rentals near me. We can look at cabin rentals, and we can get an idea of that search volume for a more general term based off each individual state, right? So the upside to it is we can say, okay, if there is, I don't know, call it 200 people per month searching this term in Texas, and then we got 100 people in Oklahoma, at least we have volume. So then we know in our mind, okay, that means Google Business Profile visibility is going to bring value. Good Lord. So see the volume of this near me term? That's a big volume. And this is just cabin rentals near me. This is just in Texas. Okay. So now we're going to go, I'm going to go in Dallas. Let's narrow it down even more. I wanted to see how worth it was. All right. So in Dallas, so this is helping me understand how much value it's going to be to bring us from, well, where'd that scan go? How much value it's going to bring for us to pull this keyword term into the top visibility, right? Because if we're showing in 20th plus position and this volume's at 2,300 in Dallas, this is going to be valuable, right? So once I get into it from an SEO side for maps, what I'm going to determine is how far can I reach, right?
Okay.
Can I reach Dallas? Excuse me. Can I reach Dallas from your current GBP? I'm thinking likely yes. I'm gonna have to run a bunch of extra data points to determine that. Yeah, but like, come on, Rod. Like there's 170 people per month typing in cabin rentals near me. So even if we go back to some of your volume keywords at like 80,
But are they
right?
looking for, if they're in Dallas, they're 2 hours away. So are they looking for cabin rentals in that demographic area right there?
Maybe it's possible, but also people in Dallas know that there's not cabin rentals in Dallas. Most of that places in Dallas are city based, right? So this is telling me that people are still looking for cabins surrounding the area. So that's
This is
possible.
organics. What you're looking at organic on SEMrush right now, right?
Correct.
You're
But
not looking at GMBs or Google
but
Business Profile, right?
correct. So this is organic, but the organic based off localization generates key visibility towards Google Business Profile. So if I'm looking at general volume terms, right, different story. But when I start, narrowing this down to a city, this gives me a really, really good gauge on visibility from Google Maps
Got
in
it.
volume. And then on the other part of it, what I do know and what we know from Google statistics, right? Majority of your customers typically will use this because they want to trust somebody local, right? Or
Right.
somebody within an area they're trying to reach to. So we leverage all that data because we don't have a direct report of like, boom, this is that number. So that's 140. So the volume search is there for cabin rentals, and we know that 60% of people are going to use the maps. So that means there's going to be at least about 80 people who use maps over organic.
Got it.
Does that make sense?
It does.
So
So would
yeah,
you
I
have
mean,
to create a landing page for Dallas on that to get that to rank in that Dallas market?
I don't know yet. So I need to actually dig deeper based off your locations. So we have some data here, right? Which is allowing me to see some of this info. I'm going to dig in a little bit further based off of this data. And I'm going to get back to you because I want to make sure that if I don't need a secondary Google Business Profile, if I need one, I would tell you. Ideal, right? Medicine Park.
Fair enough.
Are you having any pain today?
Yeah, so there's a guy, Blue Sky Cabin Rentals from Georgia. Interesting. Like casino. I'm just gonna have to figure out the data points and how much Google's allowing us to pull based off area so I can see that data. And I just have to get back to you and be like, hey, just
That
to be
works.
honest, because my goal is, dude, I'm not gonna sell you something that's not gonna work. If
Got
I
it.
don't have a strategy I can put together, it doesn't make sense.
Well, there's
You know
too
what I
many people in this business doing that, right?
mean? 100%. It doesn't help me make sales fast, but
Oh.
at least it allows me to keep customers
Of
longer
course.
because I do it the right way. So,
Okay.
but let me get this over to my SEO guys. I'm gonna have
Okay.
them do data research for me to
Okay.
figure out some search volume stuff. I'm gonna have them figure out some distance of volume based off the Google Business Profile scan to make sure we can reach Dallas and Oklahoma without another Google Business Profile. If that does make sense, just so you have an idea what we charge for Google Map execution, we do also build additional backlinks to your website, additional content. So we do overall SEO focused on geolocation. It's $1,500 a month is what we charge.
Yeah.
So, and then if you decide that you want to do Facebook retargeting and you want us to set it up for you, I'll ask my partner, who's my chief technology officer, how much he would want to charge to set all that up and just get you running on it. couple $100 probably, but let me do the data research. Do you want me to call you or do you want to set up a separate meeting?
I mean, we can set up another meeting. I was curious, by the way, and I know you got to go. Do a lot of people not show up to these meetings? I see the way you follow up and try to get commitments out of people, right? And I thought, I
Good.
mean, I've been in sales all my life, and I found that
Yeah.
really interesting.
It's let's put it this way. If I don't have the emails and the text messages automatically set up for reminders, my show rate's at about 30%. With the text messages, reminders, and emails, it's probably at about 50 to 60%.
That's a big, that's over time. When you look at numbers, that's huge.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I would love it to be 100%, but at the same time,
Well,
it's
nothing's
almost
100%,
exactly.
except death and taxes.
Preach. Preach. Yeah, that's good, man.
Oh man, thanks, Cody. So just
Yeah,
reach out to me or whatever via, we'll set up something else and go from there.
let's do this. Let's put it on Tuesday.
That works.
I won't send you 100 reminders. What time Tuesday would work for you? I'm on Pacific time, so anytime after 10 a.m. your time is
So
pretty good.
you're at 3:40 right now, right?
I'm at 11:40 right now. You're
Are
at
you
1:40.
11:40? Okay.
Yep.
I mean, anytime. Central, 11, 1.
Okay. Let's do Central Time. Let's go 8, 9, 10. Let's do 11 o'clock.
Okay.
I'm going to send an invite. There's not
All
going
right.
to be 100 emails. I should have the information from my team by then. So I'll get that info and
Okay.
we'll just talk through it and go from there.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, buddy. Enjoyed
You
your
got it.
time.
Yeah, it was fun, man. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Have a good day, man.